Scattered showers and thunderstorms out there. That weather impact is for the evening hours from now until then. A few downpours, isolated storms. Problem is, any of the storms that do develop could have some winds, some hail, maybe some flooding with them, and could become severe. We're in that threat level 1 out of 5 marginal risk for the Piedmont Triad. We do have one thunderstorm we're watching here that's in the northwestern part of Forsyth County, also southeastern part of Surry County. Just now starting to see a little bit of lightning with this one. Some heavy rain that is moving toward King, and then out to the west we've got some heavy downpours over Wilkes County, and we've had some rain enough that we now have a flood advisory until 7 o'clock because across the northern part of the county they've seen an additional inch of rain on top of what we've already had this week. Otherwise it's fairly quiet. There are some storms farther to the south, and actually that's where the biggest threat for severe weather is as we go into the nighttime hours, with that slight risk down along I-95 and to the southeast. But we'll keep in that small chance of an isolated severe storm through the evening hours in the Triad. A greater threat tomorrow. With more on that, here's Dave. At the possibility of a few scattered strong thunderstorms that could become severe. So you see that marginal risk area that is across the Piedmont Triad, and there are the warnings right now for Surry and Stokes County, Forsyth and Guilford County. Let's go in there. There is some large hail with this one, also the potential for damaging winds to 60 miles an hour. So it's over King right now. It's moving right along the border of southern Stokes County and northern Forsyth County. So the warning for Stokes is going to be up until 6:15. The warning they've issued for Forsyth and Guilford, they're going to try to let expire as of 6 o'clock. So this is moving east at about 30 miles an hour. So you need to seek safe shelter. Lowest room away from windows. You notice too some rain that is back out to the west, just north and east of Wilkesboro. They've had too much rain in addition to what's already on the ground. So there's a flood advisory until 7 o'clock. We've already seen more than an inch of rain just east of the Mulberry community. Had some wet weather over Randolph County. That has since moved to the east, but we're starting to see a few more storms kind of filling in southwest of us. Again, we don't anticipate seeing a lot of widespread storminess tonight, but the storms that do move through could be severe. That's why we are in that marginal risk zone from Charlotte up to the Triad over toward Raleigh. There's a greater threat a little farther to the south and east, and that's where you're going to see a few more warnings there, as well as in and around Columbia. So the hour-by-hour forecast does track this storm over the next hour or two right across the Piedmont Triad, and then later on tonight we're left with a few showers. Pretty quiet overnight, and then tomorrow could get noisy again. We look for morning temperatures that'll be down in the mid-60s. That storm chance again probably between now and about 9-10 o'clock, and then things really shut off. Tomorrow it is this area of low pressure that's going to be moving east and into our area, and with that front comes a slight risk for severe thunderstorms. So that's a threat level 2 out of 5. It does include central and eastern North Carolina. The threats with that are going to be damaging winds, some heavy rain that could cause flooding, and large hail. But there's also the possibility that we could have some rotation in some of the storms tomorrow. So we can't rule out an isolated tornado warning for tomorrow afternoon's event. Notice across the region this evening, most of the activity south and east, but there is some across the Piedmont Triad as well. And then heading into Friday morning, your map looks like this, pretty quiet. As we go into the afternoon, here comes that line. We'll probably see a couple of lines tomorrow. The first one may be the most intense. That's around 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the Piedmont Triad, and then kind of a secondary line that may move through around the dinner hour, and then things will be a whole lot quieter. So we've got that severe risk in the forecast for tomorrow afternoon. It's breezy ahead of the front. It's warm and it's muggy with temperatures that are in the upper 70s. Very little rain in the morning, but some low clouds and fog. By afternoon, that's when the line of storms comes in. For the foothills too, that severe risk with some scattered storms tomorrow. High temperature up to 75. And in the mountains, it may be a little bit earlier that we do have that impact from severe storms either side of the lunch hour, and then could continue into the early afternoon. Once that front pushes through, we are going to have some less humid air that gets in here in time for the weekend. So those morning lows drop off into the 40s and low 50s. But because we do have this little weather disturbance right overhead, there's still a small chance that we could eke out a shower or thunderstorm on Saturday, and a similar situation on Sunday. But overall, really dry this weekend, partly cloudy skies. And notice the heat building next week. We're back into the low to mid 80s as we head into June. I think Guilford counties, so definitely impacting the drive home in those communities. Isolated storms as we go through the evening with wind, hail, and the possibility of flooding. So this one right now has potentially some wind gusts to 60 miles an hour, could have some smaller hail in it, and also moving across northern Forsyth and southern Stokes County right now. Severe thunderstorm warning is up until 6 o'clock for Forsyth and Guilford, 6:15 for Stokes County as that storm does move through. We also are keeping an eye on areas to our south and west. You notice east of Hickory, an area of some heavy rain. Also a thunderstorm just getting developed there just south of Davidson County. So that one could prompt a warning as it works its way to the north and east. Again, we do think just over the next couple of hours we have enough instability to produce a few of these strong to severe storms. Highest threat for severe weather is a little farther to our southeast. That's where we do have that slight risk. We're in that marginal risk zone. I do think at least through 8, 9, 10 o'clock this evening there's a chance in the triad that we could have an isolated severe storm. Then things will be a whole lot quieter heading into tomorrow morning, but by tomorrow afternoon we've got another round of potentially severe weather coming through. We'll talk more about that coming up in the forecast from any of these storms. Then we're looking at another round of severe thunderstorms as a possibility tomorrow. Drier, less humid air for the weekend, and then it will feel like summer by next week. That weather impact in the short term is for the next several hours across Piedmont Triad. Some isolated storms that could become severe with wind, hail, and flooding as the main concerns. We do have one severe thunderstorm right now that has prompted a warning for northern Forsyth, the northwestern Guilford, and southern Stokes County, and that is moving to the east at 30 miles an hour. Now, it was a bit more intense over the last half hour or so with some hail, but still the potential to produce 60-mile-per-hour winds. That warning up until 6 o'clock for Guilford and Forsyth. You see a little bit of leftover lightning with that over Blues Creek. We've also had some trees knocked down here with this storm when it moved over Surrey County. So a few reports of a tree down, also some hail with the storm. That tree down near the intersection of US 52 South Key Street blocking the right lane of traffic. So for folks that are trying to get home from work, there are a couple trees down in southern Surrey County that are at least causing some traffic delays. Estimated rainfall too, we've seen an inch and a half in a really short amount of time, and that comes on top of course, that 1 to 2 inches we already had earlier in the week. So there is a potential for some flooding with any of these storms. There's also the potential, like I said, for a severe thunderstorm still between now and about 9, 10 o'clock. There's a greater threat tonight to our south and to our east, and that's where you do find a real big cluster of showers and thunderstorms that has been producing some warnings from Columbia right up I-95 toward Raleigh. We're going to focus over the next hour or so on these that are developing just to the south and west. So this one could intensify and prompt a severe thunderstorm warning for southern Davidson County or Randolph County over the next half an hour to an hour. So we'll watch that. Also another storm there near Statesville that may fill in too and become a little bit more intense. So I think the window, like I said, is between now and about 8, 9 o'clock as this shifts off to the east. And then by midnight, we're looking at maybe some lingering showers. Overnight, it's quiet with a lot of clouds and some fog. Temperatures that are warm. It's muggy as well. During the day tomorrow, we start off with cloud cover. By lunchtime, we get a line of some heavy showers and thunderstorms that could intensify as it comes down the mountains and produce some scattered severe thunderstorm warnings by tomorrow afternoon across the heart of the Triad. And then behind that, we could see still into the evening, maybe a few of those leftover storms as that front is moving through. So we do have a weather impact for tomorrow as well. And that is for that area of strong to severe thunderstorms that moves through. Ahead of it, it's warm, it's muggy, it's breezy, and then the storms again are focused mainly in the afternoon. Maybe around lunchtime for the foothills as they'll move in a little bit sooner and then continue into the afternoon. For the mountains, also looking at possibly by 1 o'clock or so some storms in the area and then sort of moving out by afternoon. Again, we've got a threat tomorrow for hail, for wind, for flooding, but tomorrow we also have a concern concern that we may have some rotating storms. So tornadoes not off the table for any of those severe thunderstorms that do develop tomorrow. That is from this area of low pressure that you see out to the west. So it will be moving in and creating that storm threat tomorrow from just south of Atlanta all the way up to just south of D.C. And that, of course, does include central and eastern North and South Carolina. And then heading into Saturday, most of this is gone, but there may be an isolated shower or storm that pops up Saturday. We've got that covered with a 20% chance. Most of that should be to our south and east. And we've got some less humid air coming in here over the weekend, so not bad. But then get ready for some heat. That comes back next week. Threat that extends now until about 9 or 10 o'clock, especially across the Piedmont Triad, and that is for some isolated strong to severe storms which could have damaging wind, hail, and flooding. So make sure you have a way to get your alerts. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning right now that's moved through Surrey and Stokes already. It is still impacting northeastern Forsyth as well as northwestern Guilford County. Now we're watching this storm intensify again with some hail starting to pick up as it works its way into southern Rockingham counties. So Weather Service may be putting Rockingham County into that severe thunderstorm warning as well. So the warning is up until 6:15, and as you can see, quite a bit of heavy rain with this hail. Also wind is a concern. Some wind gusts to 60 miles an hour. You can see some of these rainfall totals, and with more than an inch of rain very quickly on top of already saturated soils, we could have some isolated flooding. We have had some trees knocked down. These are reports of at least one tree down over Surrey County, and then a hail report there just west of King with that severe thunderstorm. We're also keeping a close eye on some storms that are down to the south that could migrate into our area. Davie, Davidson counties, those could become severe. The rest of the threat, though, is mainly to our south and east. We're in that marginal risk, threat level 1 out of 5, but you see that higher threat farther south and east, and that's where the storm activity is a lot more intense. Through the evening hours in the Triad, a chance for a strong to severe storm. It quiets down overnight, but tomorrow we're looking at another threat for severe weather. Dave is here with more on that. Overnight will be pretty quiet, but it's just in the short term here. The next several hours, we've got some storms rolling through. One is over northern Guilford County as we speak. That is Greensboro earlier today. We got some sunshine, a little bit of heat, a little bit of instability out there, and yes, a few storms that are popping up across the area. So isolated severe storms with isolated damaging wind, hail, even the potential for flooding between now and about 9, 10 o'clock. We do have that threat level 1 out of 5, marginal risk. So that means we're not talking about widespread severe weather. We're talking about maybe 1 or 2 severe thunderstorm warnings, and they've allowed this warning to expire over Guilford County as the storm is weakened below severe limits, but you can still see heavy downpours, smaller than 1-inch hail there just east of Summerfield and up toward the lakes. Also back toward Kernersville, Walkertown, some very heavy rains. We've gotten quick inches of rainfall. We've also gotten some trees knocked down. This storm was severe over Surrey, southern Stokes, Forsyth over the last hour, and you can see multiple reports, especially in and around East Bend, of some trees knocked down. We have one report there near Pilot Mountain, a tree near the intersection of 52 and South Key Street that's blocking traffic there. Also a tree down on Horn Creek Farm Road that blocking both lanes in East Bend, and there are a number of trees down in the East Bend community. Also the very heavy rains, in excess of an inch or more of rain with this storm, ponding on the roadways right now from King over to Baileytown and Blues Creek. So that may be slowing your loved one down a bit if they are headed home from work. Also heavy rains out into northern Wilkes County earlier today prompted a flood advisory, which will be allowed to expire at 7 o'clock this evening. Meanwhile, we're keeping a close eye in the Weather Center to some storms down to the south. This one has some large hail with it just north and west of Albemarle. They have not put out a severe thunderstorm warning yet, but they may do that for southern Davidson County into Randolph County as it continues to move to the northeast. Also some storms here from Moxville back toward Mooresville. None of those technically severe right now, but definitely some heavy rain with this and some gusty winds at about 30 to 40 miles an hour. We're in that marginal risk zone for this evening. Slight risk down to the southeast, and that's where you're going to see a big cluster of storms that has produced multiple warnings already today. Now, as we head through the evening hours, we'll watch these storms that we were just looking at kind of work their way slowly to the east over the 7 and 8 o'clock hour. By about 10 o'clock, most of that that is out of here. We're left with maybe a lingering late evening shower. Tomorrow morning, we've got gray skies again, muggy air, temps in the 60s, and this area of low pressure with the front is going to be moving into our area tomorrow. So when it comes through tomorrow afternoon, we'll likely see a line of storms developing across central and eastern North and South Carolina. So that's why that slight risk zone is up, and we do anticipate a weather impact for tomorrow for more widely scattered strong to severe thunderstorms. Probably a big line that comes through with the potential for damaging winds and hail, but even the possibility that we could have some rotation with some of those storms tomorrow. So we can't rule out that tornado threat with that. So your hour-by-hour forecast for tomorrow starts off pretty quiet in the morning, but notice by about afternoon, sometime between about 1 o'clock and 8 o'clock, we'll see that line of storms moving through the Carolinas. So we've got a severe risk for your Friday afternoon, early evening. Windy, warm, muggy. We'll look for a high of 77 in the Piedmont. Temps will be in the mid-70s tomorrow afternoon as well when those storms roll through, maybe a little bit sooner in the foothills, and a little closer to lunchtime and early afternoon is your impact for the mountains with temperatures in the upper 60s. Here's the 7-day forecast. A lot quieter over the weekend. Less humid air allows us to get down into the 50s in the morning. Highs in the 70s. Still a little bit unsettled. There may be a scattered shower or storm around. It'll be a pop-up. Most folks are not going to have rain over the weekend. And then look at the summer heat building in as we head into June.
Go ahead, Lanie. Let's start with overnight. Are we done with this round?
No, we're not quite done with the rain across the Piedmont Triad. You can see the rounds of storms that rolled through earlier tonight, and then we're seeing an area of rain still building right along I-40, working its way from Mocksville over to Lexington and up toward Winston-Salem. We will be through with this, though, in the next few hours, and by tomorrow morning it'll be a little bit quieter, but right now some heavy downpours from Winston-Salem down to Clemens. Also some heavier rains from Lexington back to Mocksville. We've seen rainfall rates of about an inch an hour from some of these storms and heavier downpours from earlier today. You can see a lot of rain has fallen over parts of Alamance and Guilford counties. There's still a flash flood warning out for Alamance County until 11:45. Some flooding taking place in those communities. Also a severe thunderstorm that moved through southern Surrey, Stokes County, knocked down some trees. Our front is still overhead. We will be seeing some change heading into tomorrow. We'll wake up with fog, clouds, drizzle, warm and muggy, but a weather impact day for tomorrow with a line of showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening that could produce some severe weather. So we'll talk more about that coming up. Matter of fact, you look at Elon College, their university, where we have had some flooding of streets in and around that area. Also just coming in to our newsroom, a flood warning that has been posted for the Haw River at Haw River for minor flooding tomorrow. It's around 16 feet right now, expected to be around 18 feet tomorrow afternoon. So you see some of these flood reports over Alamance, Guilford County. Of course, the storm damage reports we talked about at the top of the newscast out of Surrey, southern Stokes County. We do still have also a flash flood warning that is up for parts of Alamance. Elon College with high water amounts on the roadways in and around there. That flash flood warning will be up until 11:45. The river flood warning again through tomorrow afternoon, a crest pretty close to 18 feet. And you can see why. Some 2 to 4 inches of rain from thunderstorms has fallen in that area since earlier today, and close to 2 inches around Greensboro. There were several communities that saw an additional inch to 2 inches if you got underneath the thunderstorms, and there were a lot of places that didn't see rain as well, but where we had the rain, it was very heavy. So you're noticing too some significant rain falling from Davie County to Davidson up into Forsyth. This is moving right along that stalled out front, which is still overhead. Heavy downpours down toward Swaimtown and Clemens, also southward toward Welcome, Arcadia, and then back into Davie County. So this front, again, kind of just moving north and south. Eventually, we're going to get it out of here with the help of a cold front that's coming in from the west. We will also see some less humid air coming in behind that front. It is warm and muggy all across the Carolinas, and we're in the mid-60s right now. Expected to be in the low to mid-60s tomorrow morning. Dew points are in the 60s, so we're looking at low low clouds, fog, drizzle, spotty shower. Some of this steady, heavy rain will wind down over the next couple of hours. Tomorrow we have a weather impact for scattered, strong to severe storms tomorrow afternoon, early evening with a damaging wind threat, hail threat, also the possibility that we could have isolated tornadoes. We're in that threat level 2 out of 5. That slight risk is over central, North and South Carolina, and eastern North and South Carolina. As I mentioned, wind, heavy rain that could cause more flooding, large hail, and there's the potential that we could see some rotation. So that tornado threat is low, but it is still out there for tomorrow. Here's the front that we'd like to get through here. There's another one behind it that will come in late Saturday into Sunday and definitely clear us out by early next week. This is what will happen early tomorrow. You notice the rain moving into the mountains. After lunchtime, we'll look for a cluster of showers and storms to move in through early afternoon and then work their way to the east. They should be out of here by dinner time. There is a severe risk with them though. Look for high temperatures that will be in the upper 70s. We'll start with the fog and low clouds in the morning. That's true for the foothills too, with a high of about 75 tomorrow afternoon. Also that weather impact. Severe thunderstorms may come in a little bit sooner in the day for the mountains, either side of lunchtime and into the early afternoon with temperatures in the mid to upper 60s. Here's a look heading into the weekend. We are going to see cooler morning temperatures down in the 50s by Saturday. Some less humid air, breezy northwest winds, but still an opportunity for a pop-up shower or thunderstorm Saturday afternoon. And then into Sunday, that less humid air comes in. Temperatures are going to stay kind of cool in the morning. We've got some 50s. And we should have some sunshine into Monday and some summer heat as we head into June next week.